Okay, you guys ready?
Yes!
For what? I just wanted to eat my dinner.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to another Monday Night Live at Cafe Gratitude. Thank you. Happy Labor Day. It's a small and intimate crowd. It's Labor Day. Really appreciate you guys coming out. My name's Shea, and I organized this event with my husband, and tonight we have the omni-talented Renaissance woman, Cherie Soria, with us this evening, the raw Renaissance woman. So let me introduce Cherie Soria. Cherie Soria is the founder and director of the prestigious Living Light Culinary Arts Institute and author of 3 books, including Angel Foods and Raw Food Revolution Diet. Cherie's been teaching raw vegan culinary arts to students and teachers from around the globe since 1992 and is known as the mother of gourmet raw food cuisine. Her students are among the who's who of top raw food chefs, culinary instructors, and raw recipe book authors in the world today. It's true. Cherie and her husband Dan also own 3 other award-winning green businesses: Living Light Cafe, Living Light Marketplace, and the eco-friendly Living Light Inn. Every August at their center in Fort Bragg, California, they co-produce the world-class Vibrant Living Expo, which became the Living Light Chef Showcase this year. So with all of that, who's better to discuss raw food career choices with? Here's Cherie Soria.
All right. Thank you. Oh, am I on? Okay, I'm on now. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
This is a casual little group, and I'm going to be happy to answer questions for you if you have questions about raw food career choices. You know, it's interesting, I was on a panel last weekend of chefs, and one of the chefs said she thought that the career choices for chefs in California, that the market was saturated, and that there really wasn't a big call for raw food chefs in California. And I said, I really hate to disagree with you, but that is so not true. We have people who come from all over California and 40 other countries to study all different aspects of raw food at our school, Living Light in Fort Bragg. And people have all kinds of ways of making a living with raw food. And so I'm really excited to talk to those of you who might be toying with the idea of living your passion and making a living at the same time. Because a lot of people come to our school not having any idea of how they're going to use what they learn. I mean, most of them come with the idea that they're going to learn how to make great tasting foods for themselves and their families. Naturally, they're going to learn that. Some of them do come with the idea that they want to share what they learn with other people. In other words, they have a passion for this. They've experienced some amazing transformations in their own lives, and they want to spread the wealth. They want to teach others. Some of them want to teach children. Some want to teach, just their friends, just to be able to share it with other people that they love. And other people have in mind that they are going to go out and teach for a living. But the majority of people, no matter what reason they come to the school, they find that they do want to kind of parlay what they learned into a lifestyle that includes making a living. And we no longer think that we have to give it away and starve. I mean, that's really kind of silly, because you have to be able to make a good living at what you're doing, or you can't continue to do it. And if you don't keep the cycle of abundance flowing, in other words, giving and also receiving, then you'll block it. It has to be able to go out and come back and go out and come back. So you have to allow others to give to you just as you give to them. It's really not fair any other way anyway. If you don't allow people to give back to you, then you are blocking the joy that they would receive by giving. Does that make sense? So, my mission is to empower people to go out and live their dream. And if that includes not just becoming healthier, but also sharing their passion with others and being able to make a living at it, then I am really happy, and I feel like, that's really, it validates my existence to be able to do that. So, there are so many different ways that somebody can parlay the raw food lifestyle into making a living, and I'm going to talk about what some of those are in a minute. But just last month, I finished about a week ago writing 3 book forwards for graduates of our school. I mean, there are so many raw recipe books that people are writing now, and somebody else might look at that and say, well, that means the market is saturated. And I would say it's not going to be saturated until we have at least as many raw books as we have cooked books out there. Because only then are people going to really realize that, that this is a normal way of life. It is not some fringe. There's not just a handful of raw recipe books. They're everywhere. And when I wrote my first recipe book, it was the only gourmet raw recipe book. And I had to put half of my recipes, I had to make cooked foods because nobody would buy it otherwise. No bookstores wanted it. In fact, I had to self-publish it because no publisher would take it. They said, that's crazy. Nobody wants to know about raw food. What's that? And now, of course, there's at least 40 raw food recipe books out there. And so there's a lot of different options, a lot of different ways that people can make a living in raw foods. I wrote a few of them down here just to, I think you're going to be surprised by this. This morning, because I haven't done a talk on this before, even though we have so many students from all the countries that we entertain, I guess, and that we are involved with. I mentioned that we have people from over 40 countries, and the three forwards that I did last month, one was from Japan, one was from India, and the other one was from Beverly Hills. She's actually a rock star. Judy Nails, anybody know Judy Nails? She's a rock star actress and video game cartoon character. Actually fashioned a video game cartoon out of her. She came to the school just for her own benefit and ended up writing a recipe book and started teaching classes as well. So I made a list anyway. I started making a list of what some of our students that I could think of off the top of my head are doing, and I ended up with a list of, I think, 21 or 22. And then afterwards, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said, well, what about, and she named off 3 others. So the list goes on, beyond what I'm just going to tell you here. Of course, it's not a difficult thing to become a private chef. And you could, after taking a few courses, make food better than the vast majority of people, and you could become a private chef, and it would be really fun to be a chef for someone, take care of all of their meals and be creative and all of that. So there are a lot of people who are private chefs. You don't have to be a private chef, you don't have to manage a commercial kitchen, which is a big thing. You don't have to manage a big team. It's not a hard job. And sometimes people just want a chef to come in 3 days a week and make food, and when they make the food, make plenty of leftovers so that they can eat the rest of the week. So, you can be flexible. You can even have more than one client. So an in-home private chef is one. And then how about being a retreat chef? So you go in and you pair up with somebody who does yoga retreats or other retreats around the world. You go to places like Fiji and Bali. Elena Love, one of our past graduates and present instructors at the school, she does this. She does a lot of retreat catering, and it's really fun. And it's just a one-time thing. You go in, and the retreat is usually at least a weekend. Sometimes it's a week. And pretty much you go in and you see what's available at the farmer's market, and you buy it, and you have fun making up food and keep it pretty simple. So, but that's a fun thing, because then you could take the yoga classes and everything too. She has a blast doing that. And we have produced a lot of events in foreign countries, Costa Rica, Hawaii, Jamaica, and we've done that a lot, and it is a lot of fun. Of course, most people, when they think of being a chef, they think of being a restaurant chef. And I'm going to talk a little bit later, after I go through this list, about what it takes to be a restaurant chef. Of course, that's a little bit more complicated.